Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, February 26th, 2025. How is everybody? Oh, let's see who we got in today. Russell, hello. Chilly but clear and sunny. All right, well, yeah, I think we're in that kind of low 30, high 20 range here today. Um, but it's supposed to be 49 tomorrow, so we will look forward to that. I am completely out of something to drink here. Lisa took the last of the coffee. I might just have another soda. I don't know. We'll see if I need something to drink. Uh, I don't have. What, do we have any good news? I'm still waiting for my UPS to come. Yeah, I get my COD package. Well, thanks for the reminders here that I was able to go online and save myself $12 by paying the duty online, and so it's supposed to arrive today. I printed out my receipt just in case. Gabriel, hello, how are you? So we will see. We'll see if that comes. And there's a little, if that comes, that may change what we do here. I had a client come in this morning, drop off 4 pence for repair. So we're gonna finish. We're gonna mix things up today. We're gonna look at that touchdown desk pen that we started. Was it yesterday? See where we get with that. We've got assembly, line up the snorkel tube, and then I'm going to move into the 4 pens I picked up today. You're doing great anticipating those bandless pens. Good. Good. Well, I hope you like them. Always been a soft spot for me, particularly if they're desk pens. Even more so, the dipless bandless. A whole lot of less there. In colors are my favorite. But I haven't been on eBay in the last couple of days, so who knows? There could have been a whole bunch of stuff cooking there. I was very productive today. I cleaned up my bench. I can almost see it now. Move things off. I have a tendency, like I take parts off and I throw them kind of underneath my monitor, and they kind of get lost there. I must have had 20 Esterbrook nibs. For the life of me, I can't find the 9788 nibs that I just got. I don't remember what I did with those, which is kind of a bummer. But, I'll keep working. I found a box of cartridges that I forgot I had. I mean, a shoebox, bigger than a shoebox full. Almost all Pilot and Parker mostly. So I'm really just trying to consolidate things because I've had things in like 4 different places for 20 years. And now they just need to be, what else? What else did we find here that was interesting? I'm kind of looking around because I can see some holes here. I'm trying to make room for. Eventually, I need to put my new buffer on a table or somewhere where I can get to it. So that's kind of part of the inspiration. I did get some really for you modern pen fans. Hey Gary, how you doing? I got some really cool modern pens in today. Really neat stuff. There's a couple of classics. But then a couple of modern pen makers. So, and a couple of I have not heard of before that really do some fine work. So, those are actually being photographed as we speak. My daughter is here taking pictures. So if If all goes well, that stuff, probably talk about it on the podcast tomorrow, but if all goes well, I might be able to show them off here during the stream today. We'll see. But yeah, there's about 15 pens, including a 147 Traveler, which if you're not familiar with that, is 146 size, but it's cartridge only. It's pretty interesting pen. And a little bit hard to come by. And because it fills from a tray in the back. It doesn't, you don't unscrew the barrel and stick it. There's a tray in the back where you would expect the piston to be, which is probably smart on their part, because that's where, you see a pen that, a Legrand, you would think, okay, well, I got to, and then this tray comes out and you put your cartridges in there and then you screw it back in, and then, makes it a little bit harder to clean, I suppose, but, so there's an Auto Hut. Design 06, I think it is. A nice looking Waldman, and then a really cool Franklin Christoph. Number 20. I think it was a prototype, is what Mike Madison was telling me. Really cool material. I mean, I saw that, I'm like, so a couple Franklin Christophs and a custom Edison and a couple of smaller makers. Papa John's. No, not Papa John's. I forget. I might show them off today. I might show them off. For sure, I think we're going to show them off tomorrow. They won't be up on the website yet, but we've got them all priced, and I'll have a good head start on getting them up quick, because I'm kind of caught up on things, so that's good. Let's take a look at the bench. Let's get cooking. We're gonna come back to this one. I still want to buff the barrel, and I'm still working on my buffing technique. So even though I've already got a sack for it. We're gonna do this one first. And then I have 4 new pens that were just dropped off this morning. So let's get cooking. Boy, I need this. I got to get something to drink. I'll be right back. All right, change of plans. Let's look at some pens. All right, so let's see. Here's the Auto Hut. Kind of cool matte gray with dark trim. Pretty nib, two-tone. Auto Hut makes a real fine. They're not very well known, but they make a real fine, and it doesn't have a lot of threads. So I put it in, and I go, what was that, half turn, and it's done. Auto Hut. Oh, I forgot about this. Aurora 88 satin black. Rose gold trim, piston filler. And I got boxes for the first 3. This one's really cool. Waldman and aquamarine. I mean, it's hard to see with all this bright light I got in here. Heavy brass barrel. Pretty lacquer. Here's your 147 Traveler. So you can see it's 146 size. It's Legrand size. Nice two-tone nib. What do we got on there? Medium? Maybe. But then when you unscrew this, you get a little tray, and you can fit 2 cartridges in there. Put it back in. Boom, you're good to go. With the sticker on it. Here's that custom collier. It's very bright. Very bright. Franklin Christoph 65 desk pen. Got the little flat spot here so it doesn't roll off your desk. Number 5 nib. In this bright, bright, bright blue. Pretty cool pen, actually. I like it. It's neat. So this is a smaller version. Apparently, they make a bigger version with a number 6 size nib. This is the number 5 size. But what a cool color. Look at this. Is that not a great, great color? Franklin Christoph 20. This is the slip cap. It's just outrageous. You know, they post nice and deep. Very well designed. This collection today, I think it's for people who like a lot of color. Then there's this one, which is, oh shoot, what it is? Papa something. Somebody help me out here. I got it on a sheet. It's got this cool little flower inlay in the top. Looks like a real flower too. Papa J. Yeah, that's it. Papa J. Nice roll stop here. You got some cool translucency in the barrel, transparency in the barrel. Some shimmer. Post doesn't post. I think it would have looked better with the silver nib, but it's a Jovo nib, so this is a Bach nib, so it's you could put any other Bach nib you want in there, or Bach threading. Yeah, Papa J, that's pretty cool. We got a Zodiac, comes with the sleeve. We had something similar to this before. This has got an FPR nib in it. I think this takes, I don't know if that's Jovo or Bach, but fun combination. I forget what the color is on that. And these took me a little bit to get open. Bone Crusher 7 Studio. Come in these super cool little boxes. Those flip up, and then this flips up. What a nice little gold vein in there. You can see some transparency. You can see the converter sticking out there. Little medallion on the top. Really classy. Jovo nib. Yeah, I don't think they're really designed to be posted, but very, very pretty material. Very nice. And I mean, what's to argue about this case? This is pretty cool. And this one, I don't know. Apparently, I like this one more than anybody else here at the shop, because everybody else is kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. I think this is an outstanding color. It's just so cool. Purple and like this light green and ivory and brown. You got a couple of Bone Crusher. These are cool. This is so neat. I wonder if this one, if I can. Be great if I get a different threading that's on the top than that. Maybe not. Maybe it's only got one thread start. But anyway, beautiful, beautiful coloring on this pen. Nice medallion. And cute little box too. So anyway, those are new. We'll talk more about them probably on the podcast tomorrow. So nothing terribly expensive, except for maybe the 147 and the 88 are kind of pricey, but anyway. So this has got the one larger side, which does correspond. That. This, however, does not. So we're just going to put it in. Heat it up a little bit. And it should get a little bit more pliable. See ya. Bye. It's my daughter. Okay, we do it that way. We get it lined up nice and neat. And then now we know it's aligned right. Set the depth. It's not quite right as far as alignment, but we'll fix that in a minute. And the depth is actually pretty good. But it's just a little a little bit off. Okay. That looks good. Before we go too nuts, I'm going to see if it fills. And then I'm going to put some shellac around the base of that snorkel tube. Out to 20. Not getting quite the pressure I'd like to see. What is wrong? It could be the fact that this isn't sealed up. That's possible. So let's go ahead and seal this part because we know that's at least in the right direction. Wipe off some of the excess. It's got suction. It's maybe not the best in the world, but we'll see. We'll see what this does tomorrow. And this might be the one case where you really need to seal it up first to really get the most suction on it to fill the sack, which is a problem because you don't know until after you've sealed it, which means if it's not right, you got to take it apart again. So, all right, we're going to set that one aside. Let's bring in the next batch. I've got my trusty shaper tray that I found under a pile of all sorts of stuff. What do we got here? We got Esterbrook Transitional. Nice 2314 broad oblique nib. Really, really nice nib. We got a nice shape for touchdown. Hope that's a scratch and not a crack in the barrel. It's a rough it's a rough scratch. Not going anywhere. Okay. Craftsman touchdown. Oh, the Craftsman lever filler. Okay. And a 51 vac in Dove Gray. So that is what is on the docket for today. If we do it this way, it'll be going from easiest to more difficult. Oh my. What on earth is going on here? Not sure I like the looks of this. I don't know if that's ink, if it's adhesive. Being a transitional, it's going to have a thicker, slightly thicker and longer section than your standard J's. It always makes it more challenging. All right, well, I got the heat gun on. Let's open them up and then we can tear them apart. No, I think they're just such, you know, just like the dollar pen sections, they're wide. Yeah, no wonder that one didn't work. I think there's probably some shrinkage to the material here. And it looks like there's maybe some kind of shellac or something on there. We're 2 for 2, so that's good. Oof. Okay. We got our work cut out for us today. Going to be difficult vac week this week. All right, good. Oof. Came right out. Nasty. Also very sticky. I hate that. Well, this looks like an extra fine nib. Holy cow. Well, it's a good thing you gave these to me for repair because they're all clearly deficient in their ability to hold ink. Hey, Juicy and Derek. Welcome. Happy Thursday. I'm wasting my time on that. I should be soaking these. That looks funky, huh? Some adhesive residue on that section. This one wasn't too bad to get open. Down in there. Look at that. Ugh. Well, it's a good sign that that came off roughly as easy as it did. And this guy came apart pretty easy too, so we're going to do that. The sack is really, really sticky. In fact, my only good view of it is through the lever area here. Okay, we got something out. This is just this is my favorite my favorite scraper, which is why I have this piece of tape around it. So when it's on my desk and I see, you know, a sea of picks, I know that's the one I use most often. It is the one that I would cry the most if it broke. But it has a little round. It's got a little round end on one side, which is really good for, you know, non-aggressive. And if I need to be a little more aggressive, this end is got a little bit of a sharper point to it. So this is good for, it scrapes without scratching. And this one, if I really just need to, like this is the end I'm using now because I really need to get this stuff off. It's just not coming off. So, and it's not, you know, I mean, I have other ones that are sharper, like this one here. Oops. Grabbed the wrong one. That's why I have the green tape. But they're so long and the angle is so sharp, it doesn't go in most barrels. That one it actually goes in, but... Try not to spend too much before the Dutch pen show. Yeah, I get it. A week from today, I'll be in Baltimore. Actually, by now, I'll probably already be there. My flight leaves at like 5:28 in the morning. Now, thankfully, it's heading out of, excuse me, it's heading out of Appleton. Why so late? It's heading out of Appleton, so now it's unfortunately now it's on the other side of town. It's a solid, for me, almost a half-hour drive, which I realize is not terrible. At that hour a day, it'll be just, I mean, it's a straight shot, literally downtown, and it's probably the only way to get there. And as we usually joke, it's the Appleton Airport is like 8 gates, no waiting. I mean, there's nothing to it. So, and when you walk in the terminal, TSA is literally right in front of you. I mean, you can't miss it. It's not one of these, you walk in and then you got to go find TSA, or they've got multiple TSA. There's one TSA checkpoint. So it should be a pretty easy. Now, sometimes it's a little more expensive to, well, usually it's more expensive to fly out of Appleton. But my next option is, the best option, of course, is to fly out of Milwaukee, but that's an hour and 45-minute drive one way. At least it can get me to the airport and still get to work on time. Even considering she starts work at 6:45 that day. Okay, we'll clean this up in a little bit. We got some ink on that side. We'll clean that up. So thankfully the sack came out on this, but you know, you still got to check. Because you never know if somebody didn't finish the job or didn't do the job right. Boy, that J-bar looks great. This is really a sticky mess. There's no pen cleaning fairy? I don't know. Sometimes for Lisa there is a pen cleaning fairy. Look at this nastiness. Oh, hang on. Ah! That's your UPS. All right, that was not UPS. That was my wife laughing at me. What are you doing? Nothing. Don't change. I love you just the way you are. You probably can't hear what she's saying. All right, there we go. Holy moly, is that... Sure did a number on my drill bit, though, didn't it? Holy cow. You haven't come across a sticky sack in a touchdown snorkel yet, it'll happen, but it's not fun. This one's not too bad. See you later. This was right on the line where if it was a little bit stickier, it wouldn't have come out. And then you use acetone to get it out, which then really makes for a nice gooey sticky mess, which I may end up putting it in anyway. Always clean them up. Oh boy, is that a mess. My hand cleaner is going to get a workout today. All right. I found all the missing tools that were on my bench that I've been looking for the last week and a half. So that was good. You think you might have a Conway Store 388 that had a crazy repair. The sack came out fine, but it feels like the lever and bar are glued in. Oh, what is that? What is cooking here? You recently had a vintage pen arrived and opened it up. The previous repair had been done. They put a new sack on and they had left some of the old sack in the barrel. Yeah, and you'll find that often. You know, does it cause a problem? Not always, but sometimes it can. Yeah, so with the old sack pieces in the barrel, it caused a new sack to twist. Yep. Yeah, that's why you want to make sure that everything is out. Yeah. So the sack went bad, clearly, and then the pen leaked everywhere. All right, next up, let's get this 51 barrel clean. The other pen, they used plumber's tape to seal the sack to the nipple. Yeah, that's great. I mean, on the one hand, I can applaud somebody for getting a repair done, but on the other hand, good repair techs have been around, or repair techniques have been around for a long time now. My favorite, I think, is string. You find somebody who took a piece of string, and that's how they secured the sack. All right. Let's get rid of this mess. Got a barrel I left in there overnight accidentally. All right, so I'm going to drop this whole barrel in there. Since this pen obviously leaked in the barrel, we're going to drop that one in there. Ooh, my UPS package is here. I'm going to go check on it. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Talk amongst yourselves. Thank you. Have a good day, buddy. All right. This is exciting. So I have been waiting. I've been waiting for this day for. I'm not sure. I need to look it up. It's at least 4 years. 4 years I've been waiting for this day. Wow. Wow. This is fantastic. It might be 5. And so about let's just say it's 5 because that seems like a reasonable number. About 5 years ago, I initiated having my own Vacuumatic filling units manufactured. Now, Hans is going to be mad at me because he's not going to be mad, but he's missing out today. He's doing a good deed. He's helping a friend, but he's going to miss this. So 5 years ago, I had some filling units. I spoke with someone about making filling units for me because they're hard to find. They're expensive now. And just because you take them off a new pen doesn't mean they're perfect. Yes, the COD was for paying tariffs. That's correct. And UPS is $14 service fee for collecting the tariffs. So it wasn't too long after I initiated having these made that I got my first prototype. And at the time it was an black aluminum shaft. And I was like, okay, that's cool. and I put it in a Ariel Kulik Fantasy 51. And the dimension was not quite right, and it promptly cracked the barrel. I think I put it in a second one, not learning the first time, and it didn't crack and it cracked that barrel too. So I said we got to go back to the drawing board. You got to get that part right. The other part is a pellet is the pellet wouldn't fit in the pellet cup, so it was no good. So for a while I would just keep asking every couple of months, what's the story? Oh, we'll have it for you in a month. I have it for you in a month. I have it for you in a month. Well, 5 years later, ladies and gentlemen, I got myself some vacuumatic filling units. So we are going to try these. And this time around, we've got, look at this, transparent. Transparent plungers. This part looks right. This looks right. It looks great. These really look great. The cup looks right. It looks like the right diameter. We'll see if a pellet fits in there. So these are the prototypes. Well, they're not the prototypes. I think these are pretty much final production. But these, I said, after the last time, I wasn't going to do it on, they sent me one last time. I said, it's not right. And so I said, I need 5 or 6 samples, and there might be more in the box. But yeah, don't they look great? Don't they look great? I mean, these are always, a little bit ambered. That one's kind of sticky, but here's another one. I mean, I don't care if it's a little bit more yellow. I think these are probably weren't this color to begin with. So I said I gotta have multiple samples so I can test them. I try them in 51s. I'll try them in vacs. They got to go in. The pellet cups got to go in. They got to work. If they work, I'm buying them. And to date, I don't believe anybody on the market sells what I consider to be an affordable vacuumatic filling unit. Now I know there's one or maybe two people who make a full aluminum version. I want to say they sell for like $75. I don't consider that to be affordable. That's for you to have. I think every repairman who does vacuumatics, you should have 5 or 10 of these sitting aside, depending on how many you do. I mean, for me, I need 10 of these because Wing Sung do vacuumatic units. Okay. But anyway, we got ourselves some filling units. So I'm pretty excited about this. So if these go well, I will order. It's a pretty high number I got to order. But they look great. They look really, really good. So we will test those out a little bit later. That's my excitement for the day. Yeah, even reconditioned are pricey. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what prices you're seeing, but I don't. I mean, the junky ones that I have to buy now are $25-$35. I mean, and that's kind of the right price. I don't have a problem paying $25-$30 for a filling unit, but I had one on my bench here, but it was all crusty and rusty, and it looked terrible. And that hard rubber, over time it gets brittle. So you can have one that looks good, but the minute you pop a pellet in there, It might break. You got to see this. Look at this. Is that not great looking?
Does it fit?
I haven't tried it yet.
All right, I brought you box and
Thank
bubble
you.
wrap.
Thank you.
All right.
I will.
I don't like
You know what? A what? So anyway, if we got time at the end of today, I'll grab some spare barrels and we'll see if how well they fit. You know, and even if you can get somebody to sell you some. Yeah. If there's a reliable place to order them, people are gonna do them. But, you know, like I don't have a realistic perception of how expensive they really are, because the couple of people that I normally buy them from, and I usually buy, you know, a dozen at a time, 10, 15 at a time. I mean, I do so much business with these people, or I send so much business their way that I know they cut me a deal. You know, and the fact of the matter is even if they cut me a deal, what's the actual supply like? You know, and I mean, I once got them for, I want to say, $15 a piece, but they still had pellets in them. You know, and so I had to still drill them out. And all right, Juicy, take care. You still had to drill them out, and what was it? A few weeks ago, I took the last of the bag, and 2 or 3 of them broke. See, I'm pretty stoked about that. I really hope, because like I say, it's been literally 5 years, and it's been back and forth, and like every email has been like, well, we'll have them for you at the end of the month. And apparently this is the month. You know, and even if they were more expensive, if you knew you could go and buy them and they weren't $75 and they looked kind of like the original. Yeah, they didn't say what year. I mean, I had all but given up at one point. I was like, well, this ain't going to happen. There we go. Nothing a little wire brush can't fix. Okay, we said that was good. Well, we got this to deal with. Yeah, but just to have them on hand, and then you know, like I've got, I won't say a pile, but I got I mean, for a lot of people, it is a pile. I got a dozen vacs that I don't even want to. I think I've got one sitting over here on my right that it needs a filling unit because the one that was in it broke. And I've got one left, but it's really kind of, it's icky looking. I don't know. It doesn't even look like it's a Parker. They say how long it will take to make them once you say okay to them? By the end of the month. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, but I can tell you this. I'll have made a decision by the end of the week. That's for sure. I mean, by the weekend. I would imagine only a couple of weeks. But probably, if I'm being realistic, I probably won't have them until April. Problem is they're not terribly expensive for me to buy. It's just that I have to buy a lot. Like, the community is going to be in good shape for a long time. But I'm sure after my initial I'm sure after my initial order, sometimes they bend the rules. The rules can be bent. There. You can see me staying awake for 6 days straight, pressing the plunger to see how long it worked. Quite frankly, I think it's going to be a real simple test. Does it thread in nice and easy? Does the diaphragm fit? And does it seal? They assured me it was perfect this time. Well, I might need one on this pen, but I'm not going to try it first. These two pieces are jammed tight. Let's see if I can get them. Is the material used to make the cup with the pellet set better than what they use in the vintage ones? Well, I'll have to ask him, but it looks like it looks like it's machined plastic. Which is, the vintage ones are hard rubber, yeah. I might have to use one on this. This is really, it's so deteriorated. The lip. is just coming off. And then these two pieces are kind of stuck together right now. Like I'm pulling an eyeball out. All right. I have any issues with them as far as language understanding what you are there trying to? No, not at all. Yeah, that makes sense. No issues whatsoever. I'm not going to reveal my source, obviously, but and they're not in the U.S., obviously. But if I didn't know they were in the U.S., I wouldn't have known they weren't in the U.S. Okay, so there's some shellac in there. Yeah, this is pretty ugly. Now, I could be surprised. I can call them up tomorrow and say, hey, listen, send me, send me the batch, and I could have them in a week. That's entirely possible. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Good, that's good. Let's take a look at the barrel. All right. Lots of gunk in these threads. Sometimes you can get away with not having to clean these because the only thing that's really in there is rosin-based adhesive, right? And I'm going to put that on there anyway. In this case, there's like an excessive amount of junk in here. I want it to be easy to thread on. Pen Addict rating with 114. Holy cow. How's everybody doing today? The Apple Tater, Dustin the Banana Duck. From Corolla, how you doing? Sullivan, hey. Olive, nice to see you. What is that? You got a little picture of you? That's cute. That's cute. How's everybody doing? What's going on over at the Pen Addict today? Howdy. Exploration, how you doing? Mike, yo. This feels like I almost talked to you today. You're playing with inks? All right. Good to see you, Slumber. Yeah, you too. I suppose I can, I should talk about what I already talked about earlier since I got all these people from Pen Addict in. We just got in today. And I'm working on a 51 vac, a touchdown, what we got here? We got a lever-filled Craftsman and an Esterbrook Dragon Drawer. How you doing? I just got in after much chaos and drama. After 5 years, I finally got something I've been wanting to have made. So I contacted somebody about making something for me. About 5 years ago, and every time I asked, and they sent me, I'll retell the story. They sent me, I wanted to have vacuumatic filling units manufactured because the ones that are available on the market nowadays are expensive. They're $75. If you find an original, I mean, they're pushing $40, $45, $50 a piece. You can't find them. You can't find them in bulk, and you can't be guaranteed even that the ones you get aren't going to have brittle pellet cups and are going to break, or they're going to be fused like this. This guy's a kind of a disaster. These two pieces are fused together. So the person I contacted, they made one for me. They sent it to me. It was really a disaster. It cracked the first barrel. I put it in. It was too wide. I couldn't get the pellet in. I said this isn't going to work. You need to go back to the drawing board. You need to measure it better. And they kept telling me, oh, I said, well, when will it be available? We'll have it for you next month. This went on for years and years and years. And finally, I just gave up. I said, it's just never going to happen. It's not an emergency right now. And I asked not too long ago, and they said, well, we'll have it for you at the end of the month. And I said, okay, great. I'll believe it when I see it. And then they sent me pictures. And so I knew they were working on it. And they made improvements over the last one for sure. So today I received, and I have in my hands, these are pre-production samples of Vacuumatic filling units for 51 vacs or for regular Vacuumatics with pretty close to correct color translucent yellow shafts. They look fantastic. I literally got them, a half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, they just showed up. So I haven't tried them out yet, but ironically, this 51 here needs some help. This is a client's pen, so I'm not going to try it on his, but the goal is to have affordable, readily accessible Vacuumatic filling units for the restoration community. And right now, that's just not a thing. I literally ran out a few weeks ago, and I stopped doing Vacuumatics because I knew if I broke one, I don't have one to replace it. In fact, I've got a beautiful 51 Burgundy with the gold fill cap in a tray sitting on my right because the filling unit broke and I had nothing to replace it with. And I figured I was going to end up having to hunt for them in Baltimore, and I'm just going to have to suck up whatever price is available. Whatever I got to pay is what I got to pay because it's a $175 pen. It's worthless without the filling unit. So these came today. We're going to try them out. Hopefully today. If not, if not, I'm taking a bucket of parts home because I really want to make sure that these are good. So they sent me, I got 5 here. There, I might have another one. There to replace an existing filling unit that's broken. Yeah, so for good example, this one that I just pulled out of this 51 is really worse for wear. And in fact, these two pieces should come apart. They should separate. And these are frozen together. I can't get them apart. In fact, the aluminum on this is actually breaking off. This is an original, and this is one of the new units. It looks like the shaft might be slightly longer, but we can address that. We can figure that out. It might be, but they look if they're not ready, they're very, 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 very close. Just on a observation of it. So yeah, and this happens all the time. You either have this problem where these two pieces fuse together and then it doesn't really, you can still get it to work. It's not really going to work very long. Or more likely your pellet cup here breaks because it's old and brittle and you got to get the pellet out, or you get the pellet out, but the pellet opening widens and then now you can't get a pellet, a diaphragm to fit in there tight enough. And so your pen doesn't fill because it can't expand like it should. Those are the most, 3 most common things that go wrong with your filling unit. The least common is maybe this spring gets all wonky and it doesn't work. But yeah, this would just, in a perfect world, and I'm literally just threading this in for the first time. It's going in real good. I know these threads are very, very dirty, so yeah, that's the big news for the day. So we're gonna try these out. If these look like they're gonna fit and they're gonna work, then I will place my order and hopefully have them within the course of, I'm going to be realistic and say it's going to be a month, but I don't know. I could have them in 2 weeks. And then you can always have these at your bench when you're doing, because when you go out in the wild and you buy a Vacuumatic, you don't know what the condition of the filling unit's going to be. You may feel spring tension on it, but you don't know if this is busted, if it's too wide, if this is bad. You have no idea other than that spring has got a little tension on it. If you know that you can go and buy a new filling unit, that changes things immensely. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I think it's going to be, just for me, I get a lot of vacs. clean that out a little better. And I, you know, I when I ran out a couple weeks ago, I said this is not acceptable. There's millions of vacs out there. Where does that fit into the pen? So if this is the 51, I don't have the clutch ring is here. I won't put the nib in, but you get the idea. So this is your 51, right? The filler goes in the back. And then the blind cap goes on the end. So I don't have it screwed down all the way, obviously. But yeah, it goes in the back. And on a striped vacuumatic, it's in the same place. It's pull one out of the pile here. So it goes right here. Yeah, you know, and this I can feel. That's why you avoid vacuumatics, buying vacuumatics, unless they have been refurbished already or they clearly say that they're working. Yeah. You know, this, I got some spring tension. I can feel the diaphragm in there, and I can feel there's something wonky about it. I don't know what's wonky about it. But yeah, it's exciting. It's a nerdy, exciting thing. And they're going to be affordable. What I consider to be affordable. You have a vacuum that plunges, it won't suck up any ink. Yeah, and it could be that that opening on that pellet cup is so wide that the diaphragm's not sticking in there. So when you're pushing down on this, you're just pushing this. You're not actually moving the diaphragm at all. That's a possibility. The diaphragm could just have a hole in it, and then that screws it up. And they just fill in the pen body. Yeah, yep, yeah. Vacuumatics fill inside the barrel of the pen. So in this case, and that's the great thing about the vac is they hold a ton of ink. There's still a diaphragm in here. There's still a latex diaphragm in here, which means you have to abide by the same rules as you would with the lever fill pen or any other latex sacked pen, meaning, unfortunately, no Roshizuku, no Sailor, no platinum inks, you know, no Japanese inks, or it's gonna affect the diaphragm. But I mean, it fills into the barrel, the whole barrel. I mean, your filling unit takes up about that much space, but you know you're gonna get a good chunk of space just for the ink. So that's my excitement for the day. Just stay tuned if you're into repairing vintage pens. Which part is the diaphragm? The diaphragm is, do I have one here? Let's see if I got one. These are the wrong size. They make 3 sizes, and you really only need 1 or 2. But this is the wrong size for 51. But this is the diaphragm. And you cut this to fit, so you do have to trim this. And then you fold this back on itself. And this little end here. So this whole thing is the diaphragm. And whoops. And this end here, there is a little plastic, what do you call a pellet. I don't know if you can, probably can't see it. There's a little plastic pellet in there. And that goes in here. So pellet in the pellet cup. Yeah, this whole thing is a diaphragm. And then this is inverted on itself. I'm going to do this without trimming it, so it's going to look a little weird. And unfortunately, I don't think this 51 is, because of that filling unit, is not going to be fixable today. So it's kind of a tricky little operation. If you've never done it before, curse words are mandatory. If you have done it before, curse words are sometimes mandatory. Again, this needs to be trimmed, so it's not quite right, but it'll completely give you the idea. So now I've got it rolled back on itself. And then this goes in here in the pellet cup. And then you push this back. And this isn't gonna, yeah, it's too big, but and then it ends up looking kind of like that. And then when you push on this, again, this would be, it causes this to come in, push out, and then when it comes back, it creates a vacuum. I don't know if you can see it. Let me push this out a little bit again, which then sucks the ink up into the pen. Got to be careful. I don't want to lose this pellet. So there you go. You see that little white piece in there, that little piece of plastic? That's the pellet. It doesn't push out if you press it twice, the ink. No. Well, so yeah, I mean, what you're doing is as you push on this, it's gonna, there's usually a breather tube involved. And what you're gonna do is essentially you're gonna push air out and it's gonna suck ink in. Now, every time you press it, yes, it might let some ink out. But if it's in ink, you're going to end up pressing, you're going to push more air out than you're going to press ink out, and then it's going to eventually will fill. Which is why early vacuumatics you would see are transparent. 51s aren't, but early vacuumatics, well, this is a good example, have transparent barrels, and you can see the breather tube, right? It ends right there, and then this is the end of the filling unit. So in this case, maybe you can see it extend, and then when it retracts is when it sucks the ink in. Push it out, and the ink goes, and the air goes out, and releasing it sucks the ink in, and then it will fill. You do that multiple times, and it will fill up to the length of the breather tube. But your vacuumatics were transparent, so you can see the level of your ink. And then as you pump it, it slowly fills all the way up, and it will get to about between. You want your extension of your vacuumatic diaphragm, and sorry about the glare, to be right about the end of where the breather tube is. And when I push down on this, I can see that the breather tube ends here, and the diaphragm ends here. So it'll fill up to here. I mean, obviously it can't fill any further, because then when you press down on it, you would have too much ink in the barrel. That's how a vac works. And there are three main sizes of diaphragms, depending on what size pen you have. And like a genius, I didn't actually label this bag, but I think those are standards and not demis. Interesting to see how it works, just to feel better about buying one. Not so mysterious. I mean, you know, the thing about a vac is you need a wrench. A lot of other lever fillers and things like that you can get by, and having a hemostat, maybe a dental pick or something, and you're good to go. Touchdowns, you need a few more things. You need a screwdriver. I mean, stuff that you probably got sitting around the house. Vacuumatic requires a special wrench to get that filling unit out. So you don't have it sitting around your house, and you shouldn't try to make one. You should just buy one if you're going to do it. But, the problem is unless you plan on doing a lot of them, and a lot being, I don't know, more than 3, 4, 5. I mean, the tool alone can be $60, $70. So, I mean, you'd make that back on 2 or 3 restoration fees for sure, but. So it's not for everyone, and it's not always easy. And like I say, even if I do have replacement filling units available, I mean, that's just a safety net, because like this one is completely shot. When I put that pellet in, it should not have come out. I should not have been able to just pull it right off. So this might be my very first customer on that filling unit, and it looked like it thread most of the way in, but I got to clean those threads off. So we will continue on with the rest of them here. But it's exciting for me. I'm excited. Because I get them from friends and colleagues, and I'm certain they give me special pricing. Oh, you just meant to buy and use, even not to repair? Just nice to see how it's working. Yeah, yeah. I don't like to put people out. Hey, and the person that I normally buy them from is starting to get out of the business. And I know other repair guys have the same situation I do. So hopefully it works out. I am optimistic. Never suck in, always blow out. And when you're doing this to test if it's if the breather tube is good, put it so the hole is down so it doesn't blow up in your face. Ask me how I know that. All right. This Esterbrook, I think, is really one of the nicest I mean, you know, it's got one of my favorite nibs ever. 2314 broad oblique. There we go. Nice left oblique. Relief. Wall of text on the nib. Good. This is the one I was concerned about. All this extra schmutz on here. If there's schmutz on one side, there's schmutz on the other. Be helpful to have that on there, wouldn't it? Okay. It's better. It'll probably be easier when there's a little bit of heat on there. like I said earlier, it's normally not an issue. You don't have to spend that much time trying to get that clean, but in this case, it's so sticky. You don't want any reason to have to put any more pressure than you need to on there. We give it a little heat and see if we can wipe some off. What do I think the oldest pen I've ever written with is? Probably, I mean, are we... Probably a dip pen that was pre-Civil War era. That's much better. 18... Yeah, I forget the year on it. I think it's pre-Civil War. Yeah, 1840 something. What makes that Esterbrook the finest nib? I like it because it's unique, right? It's not just, and we use the term, we refer to fine as not as in a nib width, but it's a great nib. It's a nib that kind of made Esterbrook famous. In fact, they called it that. They said it's the the famous Esterbrook relief nib. Left oblique. I think the actual definition for relief is like 8 degrees or something. I remember reading that somewhere once. And so if you use it properly, it's very stubbish on that oblique, so you get thin and thick lines. And now they made them in medium, fine and medium, and broad. So you can get a fine relief, a medium relief, or a broad relief. I don't think that the fine, I mean, you have to have very, very tiny handwriting for the fine relief to be noticeable. The medium is okay, but I think the broad really is where it's at. And it's just different. It was a regular nib. It wasn't, it wasn't a special order. It wasn't a, they made, I guess, total, they made 7 different variations of it. 1314, which was just one size, 2314 fine, medium, broad, and then 9314 fine, medium, and broad. Yeah, I mean it's fairly common. It always does command a premium for certain. I mean, it's not rare. You won't find it all the time, but you will find it. And it's just a fun nib. Whether or not you need an oblique nib is maybe another question altogether, but because if you don't need one, then you got to hold the pen at a different angle to get it to write properly. It's just fun. It's just different. I mean, you know, we've all got fine, mediums, and broads, or extra fines. You know, yeah, that's probably as good as it's going to be when I get the sealant on there. It'll actually be like a lubricant. You have the broad and fine. The broad definitely shows more variation. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, if you have really good handwriting, the fine is very interesting. Is very interesting because you can see it. You can see, you know, the thin horizontals and the broad downstrokes, but they're not always at you know 90 and 180 degrees, right? You know, they're you know, they can be that way on that plane. You always wanted to get an oblique grind on a Pilot VP to get the clip out of the way. Oh, that's an interesting idea. I'm sure Linda Kennedy could do that for you. All right. Let's see. So you need no ring, a couple of sacks. Let's see what we got here. Oops. I do this a lot with my tools. I put a piece of tape on there so I know the ones that I use often, which ones they are. Huh? Looks good. 19. That kind of a little bit of surface junk on there. Even the signature stub is slightly oblique. You're talking about the 2284? That's really my favorite is the 2284. I wish the 9284 had as big a tipping as the 2284 did, but it just doesn't. It's very, very flatly ground. Do you think I'll be at the DC show this year? I don't think so. I doubt it. The logistics never seem to work out for me. Although I have friends who will try to persuade me. I'm taking a leap of faith and I'm doing the Baltimore show. Next week. But you know, I'm flying in. I'm not driving. But flying to DC and staying at the DC show is even more expensive. So I would love to. I haven't been to DC in years. But what I might do is I might, and my friend's not on the chat today. I might find a way to fly to a friend's house and then we make the trek up from his place. And that might be a workable solution. I don't know. But I don't like the idea of it costing, you know, $1,500, you know, to make the trip to go to a show. Because, you know, I could just as well add that to my spending money and buy stuff on eBay and it'd probably be okay too. Okay, got that. We're good for that. $22.84, $92.84, both like 10 degrees. You got your hands on a $22.84 to compare. The $92.84s are close to Italic because they're so thin. Yeah, they're just not fun. They're not as fun as a $22.84. You know, this is a transitional, no sack tray. I'm gonna maybe squeak a 17 in there. Yeah, that's better. That's better. My last one. $15 for that guy. Thankfully, I know a guy who has sacks, so. Yeah, Estabrook didn't always. Their conventions were sometimes a little different. There we go. That's better. It would have been fine the other way, but on balances, you kind of got to give away that little end of the tapered end of the barrel. Just kind of how it is. So my schedule for the year will be Baltimore, Chicago. I give St. Louis a 5% chance, even though it is reasonably close. I guess it depends on what I buy, what my stock situation looks like. After Chicago. So but I'd be going to St. Louis by myself this year because Lisa's pretty much chewing up her vacation time on a family trip in June. So she doesn't want to ask off for any more time. In fact, she's not even coming to Chicago. So she could come on like Friday, Saturday. But we'd have to take separate cars, which is kind of annoying. So I told her next year she won't be taking this, she won't be burning all her vacation on a single trip. So next year she'll be able to make Chicago. Maybe we'll do St. Louis together. We're trying to figure a way to make Dallas work. But none of it will be as a vendor. Gotta go for a ride, Gary? All right. Oh, we got your order being delivered today. Great. Sounds good. Thanks again, Gary. Take care. What do I look for at a show usually? I primarily go to buy stock for the website. I'm really full up this year because of our big Esterbrook purchase earlier in the year. Or I'm sorry, I guess it wasn't earlier in the year. It's 2026 already. Last year we had a huge purchase. We bought 500 Esterbrook's, the big collection. So I'm really full up on Esterbrook's. I mean, unless they're darn near free, I'm probably not going to buy any, unless it's something really unusual. So I look for Schaefer balances, touchdowns, snorkels, 51s, both arrows and vacs, regular vacs. Maybe Todd's. I don't usually do too much with Skylines because of the inherent problems that you run into with Skylines all the time. Cracking, shrunk inner caps, things like that. Yeah, 500 Esterbrook's. Actually, I don't even know what the entire number is because there were 6 bags of parts, and they were divided by color, very nicely. And I was able to make, well, we bought 400, and I was able to make about 100 just out of the parts bags. And I was told that they ran out of time. They didn't have time. That there were about 50% complete pens in the parts bags. And that was absolutely true, because I made about 100 pens out of the parts bags. But I got to a point where I was in the car doing this for about 4 or 5 hours. And it was getting dark. And I just got so mentally fried looking at all these parts that I just said, yeah, I'm done. And I never went back to them. I still have them separated out because I could cross-reference them with my other bags of parts to see if I can make more pens. Because, you get you get a bag of green parts. Well, there's different variations in colors, right? There's lighter greens, there's olive greens, there's darker greens. You want the pieces to match. So I'm looking through and trying to match all that stuff up. So I never did finish looking through them. But so I'm probably not going to buy any Esterbrook's unless the price is absolutely right. With the exception of maybe this year, I've started to focus back on desk sets, Esterbrook desk sets. I now have a working master list of, as far as I know, every single Esterbrook desk set ever made in the United States, and then every Esterbrook desk set that I'm aware of that was made in England. Now that portion of the list is very small because I don't know of any catalogs or references. I have an idea of where the variances lie for the English ones, but it's good enough to have the list that I have, and so I know which ones I need to get. And the good news is that most of the ones I need to get are probably very reasonably priced. Much to Lisa's chagrin, I guess, any of those. But so that's what I'm going to be looking for. Sometimes Japanese pens. Not very often. I prefer... I usually don't spend any more than, $50, $100 on a pen. Pre-restoration. Because I like the end result to be something that's under $200, which is, what a lot of people would consider to be, that's a significant amount for a lot of people. If I start getting into $300, $400 pens, well, then your market shrinks. I'm going to drop that in the ultrasonic, I think. Do you really like a 14? 14S, but I don't think I've ever seen one to show 14S. 14S. Waterman 14? Safety? And then, and then for myself, I usually end up with something for myself. I'm interested in early Conklin Crescents, anything early hard rubber. Wirtz, John Hollands, Aiken Lamberts. I like Waterman, but they're kind of pricey. Early Parkers, hard rubber Parkers, Supre, pretty much anything. I guess some dual folds, but mostly Lucky Curve and earlier in the Parker era. And I don't do a lot with Schaefer, but it's usually hard rubber or a really neat lever fill balance once in a great while. Although I've got most of the spots that I want, I think I've pretty much filled in. Waterman, okay, yeah. So that's kind of what I look for. Early stuff primarily. Anything weird, Grieshaber, early Edison, which most people are not familiar with, from the 1920s. No relation to the current brand. I'm trying to think what else. I named all the big ones, I guess. Interesting filling systems, But I don't usually buy for myself. So, ephemera. I am looking for some original Parker trays for Parker cases. The aluminum ones with the little tab on the bottom that lock into place in a case. I need a couple more. And then there's an exceptionally rare, short size that I need 2 of that, who knows? Never say never. I got one of the case holds 3 and I got one of them. So well, I'm going to get a nib fixed in Baltimore. I've got a 58 Waterman I restored it last year, and the tines are just, it's a monster of a nib, and it's a manifold nib. So it's very thick and it's very stiff, and it doesn't write at all. It writes, but it's terrible. I'm just, I know how to do it. I just don't want to be responsible for doing it. So I've already talked to Kennedy's. I said, listen, I need you to fix this pen for me. So hopefully she can just open that up a little bit and get some more ink flow going on it. And there's a bookstore near you that has a Schaefer's display case. How big? 6-footer? I always wanted a Schaefer 6-footer. I had an opportunity to buy one, and the price was so outrageous. I kind of laughed all the way home. I mean, I was $3,000 or something. I'm like, there's no way I'm paying $3,000. You can't give 6-foot cases away, literally. I mean, if you pay more than $150 for one, you paid too much. There's a very limited market for who wants those things because they're big and they take up a lot of room. Oh, a 4-foot. Okay, yeah. I used to have a 4-foot Schaefer case. Mine was from the 90s, I think. 80s or 90s. It was interesting because it was a 4-footer and the doors opened up like this. They open kind of butterfly, suicide door plastic trays built in. The original lights that it was wired for, they got the case so hot that they turned the plastic yellow. And I could feel my pens getting hot, so I took all the bulbs out. But there was no easy way to retrofit them to LEDs, sadly. So I had to get rid of that case. You know what? This is just, it is so caked with ink. Let's see if I got enough. I got enough in here. Did this fit in there? I really need to. I need to go over to the shelf and get myself some more Dr. G's. Is what I need to do. But I haven't done it yet. I'm pretty sure that we are gonna fix this. There too. If you haven't dropped a 51 collector in Dr. G's, you're missing out. It's really amazing. Just gonna put the end of this in here while we're. Probably not going to be enough time to clean it off, but it might get a little cleaner. It was very, very dirty. Well, we got something come off of it. You can see it right there. It had already been in the ultrasonic, so. It's just so little solution. I have to tip it at an angle here to. I'm going to regret that second soda tonight when I'm trying to sleep. Yeah, if you haven't tried this for some ink removal, this is really pretty fantastic stuff. Normally you throw it in there and you do something else. You fix something else while you're waiting, but we're here at the end of the day and I don't really want to start anything else, so. All right, well, it took something off. Just from that little dab in there. I know you're probably thinking, well, why do you have to clean that? You're just, you're just going to cover it up anyway. I just like it clean. You never know when ink is going to, end up being rehydrated, and then all of a sudden I've got this red ink coming out. It affects how it all threads together. So I'll just leave it like that. I'm going to grab my 51 bucket, or my Parker bucket, and let's see how well those thread in. I really need to look at my part spins more often. More garbage 51 units. That'll work. Now it's a lockdown pen, but well, the size is right. I'm concerned about is the length of this rod. Let's see if I got one in here that I think I see one. This has got some. Little diaphragm kind of getting in the way here. Actually, this is. This is the part I was concerned about, but that seems to be okay. Let's find a better specimen here. Something goofy going on there, so that's not a good example. And usually if they're in here, if they're in this bag and they look good, that means the filler didn't come out. In this case, it's got no nib. And the filler didn't come out. Yeah, so here's another good example. The spring is all, I don't even know how it gets that way. But there's no fixing that. There's no fixing that. Okay, so I got most of that out, which is really kind of what I want. Clean barrel, clean seat. Perfect. Okay. You wouldn't mind a Parker vac at some point, especially in blue? You want another copper bandless Model B, Gabriel? It's super dark. Yeah, they all are. They pretty much all are very dark. Which is why I like a lot of those. Is the blue's dark, the green's dark. You only got to collect 18. This one's stiff, but it's probably not the filler. It's so I normally wouldn't do this, but just for the sake of testing this out. A little silicone in there. You don't have any red. That color is eluding you. You want me to look at my parts bin? You know how well that worked out for you? Yeah, just like the black pen. Yeah. You know how well that worked out for you last time. Goes in. That's a good first step. That part's right. I'm just going to throw this back in there so I can keep the blind cap with this pen. A decent pen. It just needs a nib. Probably got one in there somewhere. I will continue testing on some 51s. That looks better. A little bit of. I might just dunk that whole thing in there. Yeah, we're getting some good stuff out of here. Gabriel, you're probably going to be in good shape because if I had a good red bandless, it probably would have been restored or in my binders available for repair. I'm going to leave that in there. Let that soak a little bit. But hey, just for fun, let's look, huh? I don't have much in the red. Oh, hey. What do we have here? It's like, that's like half the bag. There's not much left in the bag. We got a Model A with no lever, no section. Yeah, no section on A. Jeez. Here's a B. This has got a cracked barrel, though. That's the problem with this guy. And this has probably got a crack, too. That's why there's green tape on it. Yeah. Crack right there. So, this one's good, but finding a section for it is tough. I got a bunch of slender dollar pens, good ones too. Oh look, here's my copper bag. There's 3 copper bandless in there. 4. there's 5 pens in here, 6 pens in here, and 4 of them are copper bandless. There's two blue bandless in this one. Cracked barrels. Green bandless in here. We got every color. Gray in here. Hello. And I got some black in this one. But finding the section for this is going to be tough. The lever I'm not super concerned about, but I probably, if I had 50 slender sections, I still wouldn't have enough. Almost done. Okay. You only have Model Bs in copper? Yeah, these 4 are all Model Bs. Crack. What is this one? Missing a lever. Lever's weird on that one. Well, it's got somebody's name on it. Oh, that's got a frosted 9788 on it. Ah, it's got a crack in the tine, though. Somebody tried to engrave their name in it. Barrel's not quite right. So, sorry to disappoint, Gabriel. And then it'll blow your mind when you see that there are bandless double jewel pens. Actually, I think there's bandless transitionals too. Not many, like 1 or 2, but that's it. So, oh, you put an 8660 in it, cool. We're gonna let this soak in here for a little bit more. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take it out. I'll probably let it soak tomorrow, but I don't necessarily want to leave it in overnight. Let's real quick. A red bandless double jewel, yeah, and then there are prototype bandless double jewel-esque pens, but without jewels. Prototypes don't count though. All right, that's getting better. We'll attempt to soak it a little bit more tomorrow. I still have this guy that I've been soaking in naphtha to see if I can get that out. And actually, let's just see if it moves real quick, and then I gotta go. $400 for that one? Yeah. Oh, you saw it on eBay. No, it didn't move. I applied a little bit naphtha earlier today on it too. Yes, since yesterday. So we will continue that tomorrow. And we'll continue on this 51, which is kind of a mess. But the rest of these we can reassemble, and I can get testing tomorrow, which will be good. So we'll figure out what we're going to do on the 51. All right. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate you, everyone that came in over from Pen Addict. Nice to see you all. Tomorrow, podcast 1:30 Central Time. Monday. So we'll have repair streams next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday only. Thursday, obviously, I leave for Baltimore. And Friday will be the all girls podcast, all women's podcast. But anyway, so we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great evening, great afternoon, great morning, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll see you later. All right. Take care, everyone.